Shooting is one of the toughest aspects of basketball to master, and that's because it requires probably the most amount of practice. Most of the time when people teach shooting, they hit you with tons of different cliches and things that they hear on TV that aren't necessarily true for all players. I'm going to decode some of those myths and those cliches, and I'm going to give you exactly what you need to be teaching your players to help your shooting accuracy increase as a team. I'm only going to give you some of the major and most important parts of shooting, but online I've created a shooting course that is over 32 lessons long. So this is just the bare bones. I want to give you the most important stuff that's going to give you the greatest bang for your buck. When you're working with your CYO team, it's very important. The first piece to talk about with shooting is that when the ball comes out of your hand, it's supposed to be rotating, which is the backspin on the ball, and it should be going perfectly end over end. That is the best way to judge your shot or any player on your team shot. If that ball is rotating end over end, there's a good chance that you're doing it properly, as long as you're using some of the basics I'm about to teach you right now. The first thing you should explain to your players in order to get rotation is that the two fingers, your pointer finger and your middle finger, are the most important fingers when you shoot the basketball. Those two fingers should be directly in the center of the ball. Now, obviously, the basketball is round, which means it's got tons of different centers, but to make it even more precise, we want to identify and define the center of the ball for the players. So what we do is we use the pinhole where the air goes into the basketball. We use that as the center of the ball for beginners and players that are just getting used to shooting perfectly. And we want your two fingers, your pointer and your middle finger, to be straddling that dot. Once your fingers are in the right spot on the ball, you're going to take those two fingers and you're going to drive them through the basketball, and by the time you're done, you want your two fingers that we just talked about to be pointing down towards the floor. When you do both of these things, two fingers in the center of the ball, and you snap your wrist and you hold your follow-through down, you're going to ensure that the ball goes where you want it to go, which should be straight, and you're going to be able to see that you're going to have better rotation on your shot, which is going to make for a soft touch and hopefully get you that shooter's touch that you're hoping for in your games. A couple of things to avoid when teaching shooting. Players have it built into their brain that they should have a space between the palm and the ball. You don't have to worry about even talking about that space unless players are shooting the ball with their palm, which 95% of them don't do anyway. So it's not even worth having that conversation. The space between your palm and the basketball should be so small, it's almost not even worth talking about it. The other thing that coaches are always adamant about teaching when it comes to shooting is that players' elbows should be in the shape of an L. Here is the thing about the L. Eventually in your shot, your arm will hit that L position, but don't force players to start from that spot. You want to make sure that players have their elbow under the ball and they get full extension, full range of motion so that they're maximizing the amount of power they have in their shot. You don't have to make sure that players are necessarily starting with their elbows so high up. If you can get your team to buy into all of these concepts and get rotation on their shots, you could even do this drill where they're going shooting back and forth to each other. You can do this on a daily basis to make sure that everybody on the team has perfect form and perfect rotation on their shot. I guarantee you're going to see your team's shooting accuracy increase dramatically.